Welcome to my online tutorial. Today I thought we would paint a single flower, as this is a completely new venture to me and possibly to some of you. So we'll keep it quite simple and then hopefully build up as we go on and decide whether we want to paint more flowers or just go for a single flower today. I have chosen today the beautiful fuchsia, the dancing ladies. I do hope that's in focus. This is all quite experimental, so I'm hoping that you can see what I'm trying to show you here. Jolly good. Right, to start with, we will do an outline drawing, as usual, like we do in class. We don't need to put any light or shadow on, but we do need to get the outline as accurate as we can. I will be using an HB pencil, so hopefully it will show up on the camera. The lines made by the H pencil didn't seem to show up very well, so I'm trying this with an HB to see if it's better for us. There we are. There's a nice fine stem that comes from the main branch linking the flower to it, and with this fuchsia I'm going to draw this large one here. I'm going to enlarge it. I'm trying to make it roughly twice the size, and it would be good if you could do that too. We're going to put the lovely top petals in first, which will be a beautiful bright red when we get to paint them. The centre petal here, the red one, is coming straight towards us, so to make it look like that we have to foreshorten it. We actually have to make it shorter than it is to make it look at the right angle. Otherwise it can be going downhill or uphill too much if we don't get that correct. So that's worth practicing a little bit of foreshortening if you have time. Looking at things that come straight towards you. There's just a little tip curling up at the end there, which is good to see. That helps with the definition. And then we're going to go for the other petal coming out sideways here. And then we've got the lovely skirt, which is purple, or will be purple in this one. There are lots of different types of fuchsia, as I'm sure you're aware, lots of different colours. You choose whichever ones you would like to draw and paint. This is just an example because I have these on photographs from my garden. Obviously we're painting from photos at the moment because they're not in bloom. I'm going to put in the stamens. There's about 6 to each one, and one of them is actually a lot longer than the rest, and that's quite a good thing to remember because it adds a little bit more character to the flower, and has a nice large blob of pollen on the end here. Yeah, so right, so that's the drawing. Hopefully you can see that. I will put it closer to the camera for you. Apologies if it's out of focus at this stage. It's all part of my learning curve as well here. So I'll just bring it up a little bit to the camera. In fact, I'm going to check the camera just to see what you can see. Yes, there we are. So bringing that in close now. We've lost the stamens a little bit because I brought it close, but you can see the shape of the petals. Particularly the one at the front that is foreshortened is a good one to try and mimic when you do your drawing. And you can just see the stamens there. One is longer than the rest. I'll just move that in. That's good. Excellent. And now for the painting. We've done our outline drawing. We've enlarged it. So it is about, it's roughly twice the size, probably a little bit less than twice the size I've done it today. We need finer brushes for this because we're doing quite detailed work. The colours I've chosen quinacridone magenta for the petals, and I'm going to mix that with a cobalt blue to get the purple. So we do a little bit of mixing. If you've got colours you can use straight from the palette, then do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. It's just a good technique to know how to mix some colours as well. Right. bring the palette so you can see it perhaps underneath the camera as well here. And generally I'd start at the top, but I realise I haven't got any green on my palette, so I'll put some green in when we get to that stage in a little while, because the very top of the flower actually is green there. I think you can see it's like the little bud at the top. So I'm going to leave that bit for now. I'm adding in this colour here. So you leave a little highlight where you think the light is going to come from. That's another good point. It can help you remember, if you put a cross on the paper, where the light is coming from, because sometimes you can get so engrossed with the painting that you forget, and then we get the shadows in the wrong places if we're not careful, which is a shame. So my light will be coming from the top left hand side, which is where I usually place it for me. I find that suits me, because you can invent your light, you see. Once you know the rules of light, you can invent where you want your light to come from. So I'm going in with the top petals now. Adding a little bit of water at times so that it spreads nice and evenly. Now this one, the foreshortened one, I will need to have definition where the point is. So I'm leaving a little area that hasn't been painted there, as you can see. Triangle. And I'm going to add just a richer tone to that so that it flicks up. I don't want it to bleed because it's still wet, so I've got to be a little bit careful. But no, I think we're okay with that today. That's good. So we've actually got the end turning up there, which is good, adds definition. There's a little bit of shadow on this side because it curls round, but most of the shadow will be on my right hand side. Take it right out to the tip. Use just the tip of your brush to get the definition as well, to get the fine work. Don't press hard, there's no need to press hard, you can just use the tip of the brush. Yeah. So those are the first 3 petals done. I'm now going to mix the blue with the quinacridone to hopefully make a rather lovely purple, and yes it does, you see, look at that, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to go in with the purple here. Again, we don't want it to bleed into the top petal area, so we have to be very careful there. We've got like a separate petal here, so we want to make sure that shows. I'm going to add a little bit more blue to this side, because this will be the shadow side. Up here at the top, very deep shadow. Yeah. And then this will be paler. So just a touch more water to pale it down, and a little bit more of the red, so that it gets a reddy purple rather than a shadowy purple. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Coming on quite nicely. I'm going to now just mix up some green. We'll use sap green, but we're going to blend it with a little bit of the purple. Oh dear, couldn't open the tube for a minute. There we are, done now. Good. Right, so we've got the green. We're going to add a little bit of the... You need a little tiny bit of green because there's only a small green area there. We'll add a touch of the purple so that the colours link in nicely. Here, this is the green area at the top. And I'm going to carry on. You see the spotlight, the highlight we've got here. I'm going to add another little highlight in line with that, so it looks as though the sun is catching the light. The sun is catching it there, rather. The light's catching it. Right. Now that's very dark green. I hope that's not going to be too dark. The stem is actually a pink. Don't often see pink stems, but you get pinky greens with this. So we're going to have a very pale green just by adding water. I don't know where you can see that under there. It's very pale. And a little bit of the pink as well. So there. So we just do this very, very thin stem. Yeah, it's still quite dark, but I think it'll be fine for today. And we're going to add a little bit of pink on top. And for the stamens, they are very bright red. I'll show you the picture again because I'm not sure whether you can see it where I've put it. You can just have another look and see the different shapes and colours. Bear with me, I'm going to stand up now because then I can actually see what you can see on the camera. The camera's actually above my head here. Now that's out of focus to me. Is that better? There. So you can see those. Hopefully you will be able to find more photos of your own, or you can even look online to find photos to use for reference, because this being a different type of teaching, I cannot see what you were doing, so it makes it a little bit different to describe and to try and explain things to people when you know they can see what you're doing but you can't see what they're doing. So do have reference, that's what I'm trying to say. Do have some pictures for reference. You can use mine if you wanted to, but the thing is, they say if you copy other people's work, if they have made a mistake, then you will also make a mistake. So it's really good to have either the real object to copy, which at the moment is not easy, or photos. That's why we say photos, because they are more accurate than watercolours. For your reference anyway. Now we're going to do the stamen. I've just mixed up the red here. Just one long line. If you can do it, that's fine. If you find that your hand isn't steady enough, do not worry. I have mentioned in the past about doing lines, and I'll show you with this one. We can do a short line, lift your hand off, and then go back, leaving a tiny gap, and do another little line. If you find that's easier than doing one long line, and then carry on where you can. In the end, people don't notice the little gaps. The eye will join it up, and it actually is very effective. It's much better than having lots of wobbly lines when you don't need wobbly lines. So it's always a good tip to remember that. You can lift your brush off, leave a tiny gap, and then carry on with the line again many, many times if it's a long line. What I would say is that don't do them all the same length, those little dashes, because then they seem to be more noticeable. Do them erratically, so you have some long lines and some short lines. Now I'm going to just show you that on one side because it is a useful thing for all sorts of things. I'll carry on with the red, but it will be, I'll pop it over here so hopefully you can still see it. See what I'm trying to show you here. Let's see, I'm going to stand again. Yeah, you should be able to see that. So with a long line that you can't do without joins, go long, short, you have another short one, all over the place really, erratic lengths. And then it makes a lovely long line, which is much better than having wobbles and kinks in the line. Now I'm going to show this up to the camera because I think it might be out of focus low down, I'm not sure. So this, as you can see, the end result, or almost the end result. I haven't put the little pollen bits at the end of the stamens yet, so I'll do that. But that's the sort of thing you can do in a few minutes to do a single fuchsia. And then of course you can add to that if you want to. If you have photos, you can take a whole branch and pick out as many as you want to do. You don't have to put every single one in, because sometimes there're just so many, as in this photo, that they're impossible to sort out which is where. So I wouldn't ever attempt anything quite like that. That would be too difficult. But something like this is what you can create, if you choose to, out of our fuchsia painting session. I have put a little mauve background into this, which you can do with your washes very, very carefully after you've finished your painting. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this short session, and if you have and you'd like to paint your own, please do. And if you would like to send any in online to me that you've completed, I will have a look at them and give you a short appraisal individually. So you don't worry, no one else will see it if you don't want them to. Okay, so yes, happy painting. Bye for now.